What's cracking, guys? Bruce Mattson here, your host show of Metro Scout Fantasy Football, and I got more training camp action coming your way today, and it's a big one, an important show right now, because we're going to be talking about Isiah Pacheco, however you say it. It's been played differently in my head all along. I keep thinking Al Pacino when I say it, so it jacks me up every time I want to talk about this guy, but he is an important guy right now, fantasy football circles, NFL draft circles, Kansas City Chiefs circles, whatever circle you're in, Isiah Pacheco, Al Pacino, they're in there. They're in there. And we're going to be looking at some of these camp clips. And I'm kind of late to the party. I just haven't been able to get to them. I have been dealing with some things lately, but now we're here. I got a minute of clips, a minute 15 seconds to be exact, all balled up right here. So I'm making it up to you, and we're going to be talking about Isiah. And I'm going to tell you what, he looks good. He looks good, and I understand the hype. I understand the hype. When you look back at his testing numbers, they look good. You look at his clips here, you see a very fluid athlete. You see a guy with some burst. You see a guy with some dog in him. Look at him right there. And then here, my big thing is you got the swag. Swag makes me buy. Swag makes me buy. But look at him break off this route. Boom. Limited drift there. Looks good in the footwork. They're using him in the passing game. That's what we love with our running backs in fantasy. That's what we like about our running backs in general. Usage in the passing game. If you're catching balls, you're going to be out there. You're going to be useful in fantasy even more. You're going to be useful for your team. Getting the edge there in that play. He runs with some dog in him. He's got some speed. He's got some burst. He's got some pop. Catching the football. You got to like that. And you see it with the footwork. It's evident. It pops out. It highlights. What causes caution for some people is that he was a 7th-round pick, fell in the draft, but he's been jumping the depth chart. It's getting a lot of publicity, a lot of people talking him up, a lot of people liking him, and I understand. And for fantasy football purposes, there's a lot going on with him. There's a lot of people talking him up as a buy, talking him up as a sell. And this is where you got to tread your waters appropriately. This is where you got to get things right. This is where you got to really work the market. And what I kind of think objectively, first off, I had him on my roster, and objectively thinking whenever I get an asset like this for Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got to notify what kind of asset we got. We got to clarify what he is. Asset turns for Dynasty. I see a speculative asset that is heavily touted, that has a lot of upside, that could go to the moon, to honest, and that's increasing in value. What am I going to value this? There's also a chance that we could hit the floor. There's also a chance. How are we going to value this? He's on my roster right now. He may or may not be burning a hole, but what I would be doing is kicking the tires. We always kick the tires whenever there's a value change. We have to at least kick the tires, say we kick the tires, so we don't have that FOMO if something happens. So we kick the tires, but our expectation or what we want to do here, I think with him, would be to try and sell him with way more than what he's worth. Maybe first and more, whatever. And not to expect to get a trade done. Not to expect to get the trade done, but to get a counterback to see what everybody in your league is valuing him at or where they're at on him. Another thing, too, if you're talking with your league mates, say your chat's active, your league mates are active, maybe not even send a trade offer. Start talking to him. See where they're at with him before you start making your moves. Because you may not even have to make the trade or do anything because they may not be valuing him where you want to. Because you don't want to sell this guy for cheap. You don't want to flip him for a third. A third really isn't nothing. Third's not that much. Some of them hit, but most of them don't. A late second, same thing. I'd rather have him burn that hole in my roster. I'd rather just see what happens with this. I could probably sell him and get some return on my investment if I start not liking the situation and I can get it right before the collapse. I can probably do that. If I'm buying, I'm probably going to try and get him on the cheap. I'm not giving it 2023 first. If I think I'm going to have a top tier second, no. because there's going to be some running backs, there's going to be some wide receivers there in next year's draft. Next year's draft is solid. You got to know what's going to be in next year's draft to be able to formulate what you want in these trades and value it. Late second, maybe, but really I'm trying to get them on the cheap, and I don't care if I miss out, because really what we were doing this offseason in our rookie drafts is we were pounding the table on all these speculative late-round running backs, all of them. Whether we liked them or not, we were trying to get the ones who are athletic, ones who catch the ball in the backfield, ones that had some size, and we were just spraying and praying on them. So hopefully we have some Pacheco on some of our rosters, and we're good with that. Hopefully we have a good portion of shares, but I wouldn't overpay for them. I wouldn't buy too heavily into them, but I would buy them. I would just shoot some offers in. I would shoot them at a palatable price point that's good for you. Maybe you have some players on your roster that you want to get rid of that are older players, and you feel like you're not going to really use them this year anyways. And you know what? I'll take the hit on the investment, and I'll see what's going on. The FOMO here of him shooting up boards right now, don't get too emotional on that. Right? I would just kick the tires and just see what kind of deals you get done. When a player's value changes, you just see what you can do. Most of the time, you're not going to get a deal done. Most of the time, you're not. People talk about how players are buys and sells in fantasy football. Most of the time, you're not even going to get a deal done when that happens. Everybody knows this player's value changed. They're not going to give you one. They're not going to give you one on that. So you have to just play things right, tiptoe the line, and just see what happens in your league. There's some leagues where the managers are sleeping right now because it's August and they know the season's coming up and they're getting things in line before it's football all day, every day. So you just have to see what your league's like. This is why you need to trade a lot in your league so you know how your managers in your league work, how they trade, what they value, what they don't value. Some guys are quick to sell players like these for third-round rookie picks because they feel like they got their return on investment. They're ready to scratch this off and move on. So it really depends on your league. It's not overall market value from what this guy says on Twitter, this guy says on Instagram, this guy says in his article. Test your league. Test your league. Honestly, you should already have a good feel with your league right now if you've been doing the process that we recommend on this channel, always staying active, always submitting trades, just see what happens, kicking the tires, and that's why you do this, so you know the psychology of your league mates. Most of all, most of the time you're not getting trades done. Most of the time we're not doing this to get trades done. Well, we are in theory, but technically we're not too, because we just want to be active in this league so we know how people react for when stuff like this happens, and we can move quick. So that's either quick to buy or quick to sell them or whatever. You know what's going to happen. You know whether to sell, hold, or fold. But let me know what you think about Isiah Pacheco in the comments section. Let me know if you agree, disagree, or anything what I say. I don't believe in buy, sell, or holds. I believe in just knowing the market, testing things, kicking the tires, get for what you want, sell for what you want, buy for what you want, and all that stuff. But let me know what you think. I love to hear it. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Every subscription matters. It helps the channel. And also, I'm dropping clips from training camp left and right, along with fantasy analysis to help you guys out going forward. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next vid.